Dear listeners, what if everything you perceive, every thought that crosses your mind, every boundary you have ever drawn between yourself and the world is just happening inside a single unified field of awareness, not as a metaphor, not as a poetry, but as the operating system of reality itself? Today, we are with someone who has spent decades exploring that question, not from the safety of the theory, but to the direct inquiry into the nature of consciousness. Welcome to Mind Meets Machine. I'm your host, Avik, and this is the podcast where we slow down, lean in, and explore what it means to live consciously in a world that's constantly trying to speed us up. And today's conversation is for anyone who's ever wondered, if there's more beneath the surface of what we call real. Yes, what we call real. And joining me is someone, a very lovely guest. Please welcome One I Am. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for joining us today. And dear listeners, before we get into the discussion, I'll quickly love to introduce you with One I Am. So he's an author of more than 30 books exploring consciousness, perception, and the timeless hermetic principle that the all is mind, the universe is mental, weaving together philosophy, contemplative practice, neuroscience, and emerging perspectives on the artificial intelligence to help us awaken the intelligence of the observing mind. So I do not want to take much of your time, dear listeners. Let's get started. Welcome to the show again, One I Am.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Amazing. So, when I'm when most people hear the universe is mental, they might assume that it means reality is just the imaginary or that nothing matters the most. So, what is the misconception there? What does it actually mean to say that mind comes first?
Well, mind is the intelligent awareness that creates all perceptive experience. And it's the only thing that actually exists is the mind, which they call, the quantum field of all possibilities. They call it God, the universe, source. In, the Star Wars movie, it was the force. But mind is all that exists in reality. And then there is perceptive experiences that are created within the mind. And that perceptive experience for us is the universe that we experience. We all are the same consciousness and awareness at different points of observation within a perceptive experience within the mind. We call that experience ourselves. We call it from within. We call it sense perception, where the perception itself is being drawn from five senses, which is smell, taste, touch, sight, and sound, hearing. And these are all frequencies of information that is collected at a point and projected into an appearance, a perceptive appearance of reality, so that the mind can have the experience, you understand, of a life and everything. But, the identities and etc., they come and go. Only the mind is infinite and eternal and permanent. You understand?
It's, I'd say, it's really, I mean, quietly powerful in that because not bypassing the pain, but recognizing that the pain itself is being held inside something which is much larger. And it shifts the question from how do I make this go away to what is the awareness actually noticing this? So when someone is going through something very difficult, something that feels painfully real, I would love to ask you, like, how does understanding this principle change their relationship to that experience?
Yeah. Well, you have to understand that the mind is all there is, and the identities are a perceptive experience so that the mind can have the life, and go through the processes that it is going through. The mind itself is not affected, the observer is not affected by any of the perception that is being projected. It's sight, sound, taste, touch, and everything, but it does not touch the observer. If you just come back a little from the material perception that you're viewing and feel the observer that is there, that is looking, that is aware, that observer is silent, it's still, and it's always taking in everything, you understand, and
Mhm.
observing. And that is you, the observer, not the identity. The identity is so that you, the observer, can have the experience from that point of observation. So, you don't get into the
Mhm.
identity so deeply that, everything becomes so real that you're locked into the process and feeling, everything so deeply. You understand?
Understand?
When
Yep.
when it in reality, it is a perceptive experience. And not only is it a perceptive experience, it's one created by the mind from its own mental energy. So you have the ability to create the experience that you will to have. You understand? You just
Mhm.
have to awaken to the spirit within and its ability to control its own mental energy. And then you have the experience that you will to have from that point of observation.
Uh, So, and it's really very interesting. And, like if we, because we are talking about this part, like our mind, right? So it is also connected through our daily life, right? So from that perspective, like, so suppose if someone is listening right now, maybe they are stuck
Yes.
in a kind of traffic or daily, like washing dishes. So how does this principle show up in the ordinary moments? Like, I mean, in our daily life, right? So what would it look like to live this, not just kind of understand it? So
Yes.
what do you have to say on this?
It looks like what you're talking about is taking control of the mental process and then
Hmm.
having the experience that you will to have. And you're going to have to back away from the perceptive identity and go within where the kingdom is. The kingdom is within, okay? And when the kingdom is within, who lives in the kingdom? Of course, the God, you understand, the controller. So as it says in the book, seek ye first the kingdom of God, which is within, and all its righteousness, which is the rules of the game. How the mind works and how it operates, its own mental machination. You understand? And
Hmm.
once you learn the rules from within, then all the things that you will to have will be added unto you. You understand? Because you know how to get it is what you want out of your own mental energy. You understand? So this is how, you apply these principles that I am saying and that come from the Hermetic wisdom, ancient Hermetic wisdom. This is how you apply these principles in your life experience. You're not the identity. You're the observer, the infinite intelligence that is behind it all. So, you can take control of your life and has it as you will if you would stop believing in the perception that you see and start building something within that you want to see and believe in what you want to see. You could believe in what you are perceiving, or you can believe in what you are building in your mind. Either one they're both perceptive experiences, but the only one that's going to come down into observation is the one that you have faith in and believe in. That's why we walk by faith and not by
Right.
sight. If you walk by sight, you're going to be trapped into the
Mm.
mental matrix and locked into
Yeah.
into being a little dinky person that can't do anything. You
Yeah.
understand? You have to unlock and take control of your mind and build what you will to have.
And one more thing, I mean, what about when our mind is noisy, like when it feels like there's no space between the stimulus and the reaction. So what do you
Yeah.
say?
Yeah, you just need to back away from the noise, and etc., and go into the stillness and into the silence. That's your that's your nature, you know, stillness and silence, and you are the unseen, not the seen. The seen is the perception within the consciousness of mind. You understand?
Mm.
Mind being the only thing in the infinite eternal intelligence. And you need to back away from the scene and go back into the base, where silence is all sound. Every sound that's ever been made is based in silence, you understand? Just as I'm speaking to you now and the sounds are coming out and you're listening, and then, you have to stop and the silence is there. The silence that it's all based upon, you understand? And if you look at every movement that's ever been made and all the motion, it's all based in stillness, you understand? It's the stillness and the silence where all the possibilities exist and everything. You understand? Where all the weaves of of possibility are there. And then as you observe what it is that you will to have, don't look at the perception. Look in your mind and build what you will to have and have faith in it. You understand? Faith is the evidence, like hardcore court evidence of the unseen, coming into view. You understand? That's what faith is, just a mustard seed of faith. And you can move a mountain. And it's not about moving the mountain because it's all perception and energy. So you're actually moving information within your own being. So moving a mountain is as easy as moving a grain of sand. You understand? Yes.
Interesting. Wow. And also, like, if we talk about the sustainability part, like someone has a breakthrough, a moment of clarity, maybe even a sustained shift, then life happens, stress, loss, distractions. So how do we sustain this understanding when the world pulls us back into the old patterns again? It starts coming back
Mhm.
again.
Yeah. There are loops. I wrote a book called Attention Loops to
Okay.
tell you about the loops and everything that you get into and start repeating patterns over and over and etc. But you can become aware of those loops. You understand? You can back away, look at the mental loops that are taking place that are building
Mm.
the experience that you're having, and then change those loops, and create a different experience. And once you change your mind and start believing in something different in your mind, the mental matrix will start to change, based on the observer, as they did in the double slit experiment. the observer has an effect on what is being observed. If you're observing mental images and everything in your mind, then the energy starts to come down into particle reality and producing that experience for you to have just based on your own mental power and energy. We're always manifesting and etc. But most of us are doing it unconsciously, being led by the perception rather than having the mind take over and be over the matter. You understand? But the
Understood.
mind is in charge. You just have to wake up to the fact that you are the mind and this is your perceptive experience, and you can have it as you will rather than being drugged around by the
Mm.
perception. And when you're dragged by the perception, you believe in that. You understand? Like if you don't have any money in your bank account, just say, "Yeah, I believe I'm broke. I'm broke. I don't have any money. This, that, and the other." And guess what? The energy says yes. You understand? It says yes, and it does everything it can to produce that for you. You understand? But have faith and build something different in your mind. You understand? And watch it come down and follow the prompts as the energy is changing things and producing a different situation for you. It'll send you prompts and everything. It'll send people to you. You'll find money. All kind of different things will start happening just based on you changing your mind in this whole mental matrix, obeying your command.
So, if you have to give one advice to the listeners today, what will you give?
I would just say you have to spiritually awaken, as they say, even in India. Yeah, I love India for its spirituality and its long history of spirituality, and also the sages it has had over the centuries and everything. And one of my favorites was the Maharaja and his book I Am That. You understand? And then there's Ramana Maharshi, you know, one of the greats, man, that awakened as a person asked him, how should we treat others? And he told them, there are no others. You understand? It's that one mind at every perceptive point having the experience. So, how do you treat others? There are no others. You just realize it's you within every being, and you treat everybody good.
That's interesting, amazing.
Yes.
And if listeners wants to connect with you, how they can connect?
Connect with me at thekingdomwithin.com. That's my website. That would be the dash kingdom dash within.com. I have like blog posts there, probably over 100 right now, talking about the mind, how it works. This is you, the mind, not the identity, that the
Mhm.
mask that you're wearing over the awareness. You understand? Uh, made of mental energy. It's all energy. All the elements are energy, right? This is a perceptive experience, and I know you can't believe it because it's so powerful. It's so powerful, it's overwhelming. You understand? But it is what it is. Just realize yourself spiritually awake and
Right.
then take control of your own mental energy and have it as you will. Go to the
Mhm.
kingdom within and read those blog posts, start to understand yourself. There's links to my books there and everything. So you can join me. You can email me and speak with me. You're just going to get love from me. You understand? Because I know it's me
Exactly.
on the other side of the identity.
Exactly. So, dear listeners, what I'll do is I'll put all the links, details, everything into the show notes for easy reference, and so that
Thank
you
you
can
so
easily
much.
reach out to One I Am and go check out his books. You'll definitely love it because while we are having the conversation about the mind, I believe you have felt that connection, right? That is something most important. And mind is not a problem to solve. It is the space in which all problems appears, right? So Thank you so much, Manayam, for sharing this, for
Oh,
sharing
it's been
your
a pleasure.
perspective, knowledge as well.
Yes,
And
thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.
yeah, yeah. And dear listeners, like if this conversation has made you feel something in you, then let it settle. You don't need to do anything with it right now or right away. Just notice what stays. That noticing, that quiet attention, that's the intelligence that we have been talking about. And it is already here. It's been here for the whole time, right? Just think about it. And thank you so much for listening to Mind Meets Machine. This is your host, Avik, and see you in the next one. Thank you so much.